The following is a preview of the New Models Podcast.
From Berlin to your block since 2018.
Full episodes are available only to subscribers, and there's hundreds more in our archive.
Join now on newmodels.substack.com or patreon.com/newmodels.
And you know the New Models Discord is popping. Patreon only. Stop sleeping and subscribe now.
New Models, you won't get it anywhere else. You're now locked in with New Models.
Okay, technically this isn't an America Diaries because it's about the 48 hours I spent trying to get there from Berlin. But when you're traveling alone, all you have is the dialogue in your head, and that dialogue can produce a lot of words. I'm Lil Internet, this is America Diaries, August 2026, Part 1, Flight of the Algorithms. Carly had to leave earlier than planned to the US to be with her mom, but we had already booked a flight together, and that flight couldn't be changed. So Carly just booked a different flight to the US for her and Coco. The crazy thing is, and you only learn this through painful experience, if you miss the outbound flight of a round-trip flight, they cancel your return trip automatically, unless you call them ahead of time and tell them you won't be on the first flight. At this point, everyone already assumes there wouldn't be a refund for canceling the first part of a round-trip flight, but it gets even crazier. They actually charge you for not taking the flight, even though you already paid for it, and they sell those seats to someone else. When we called the airline to let them know that Carly and Coco would only be taking the return flight, the guy on the phone was really nice, regretful even, because he knew the policy didn't make sense. He even went off script and said, "To be honest, during my training I actually asked about this because it didn't make any sense. And so they explained to me that they calculate the price of your return flight based on a round-trip price. But now that it's just a one-way, they have to charge you the difference the price would have been if you had just booked it one way." The obvious response is, "But the seat is still paid for, and you could probably sell it again." To which he could only say, "Yeah, but it's the algorithm." There's nothing you can really do when it's the algorithm. Doesn't matter if it's Lufthansa Airlines or Instagram. The algorithm is sovereign, immutable, absolute. Earlier in this flight saga, Carly got a tip from another airline call center worker who told her, "Yeah, you don't want to use the website. This isn't what we're supposed to do, but I just install every app from every airline on my own phone because I can see stuff on the app our own system won't show us. They only really care about the app, so always use the app." With Carly and Coco leaving early, I had a week alone in Berlin. I helped them get to the airport at 5:30 in the morning, and then immediately after saying goodbye, got extremely ill and was bedridden for 2 days. My immune system did not want to beat the shit out of me in front of my wife and kids, and so, like a gentleman, had waited until they were gone. My own flight, Lufthansa from Berlin to Munich, then United from Munich to Washington, D.C., both airlines members of the Star Alliance, also required me to leave at 5:30 a.m., so I made sure to download and log in to the apps the night before. United sent an SMS with my login code, but I checked in on the Lufthansa app since that's who we booked through. Then I attempted to get a few hours of sleep. Maybe it was anxiety about sleeping through the alarm or something, but my brain kept narrating things, pantomiming that it was doing work. It was not my conscious mind doing this. I had no choice in the matter. It was a part of my brain that felt autonomous, automatic, like an AI agent I couldn't turn off. I never really fell asleep. I just got dragged along by this agent inside my own head, a voice chatting through mundane problems and deliberating their solutions, like my skull was picking up the most boring AM radio station in existence. I was delirious when my alarm rang at 4:30. I got up, took a shower, did one last sweep of my bags in the apartment, and started rolling my luggage to catch a train to the airport. I felt like I was running late, but got through security with 2 full hours to spare. All I had to do was scan and swipe on the app.
Now boarding Lufthansa flight LH1929 to Munich. Please come to gate B17.
I tried to sleep on the plane to Munich, but that didn't happen either. I still don't know how those neck pillows work. I'd forgotten mine, but I leaned my head against the window. Shouldn't that support my neck? Somehow it didn't, because right before I would drift off, a sharp pain would wake me up. I try to focus on my neck muscles to relax them, but they're hard to find when you're leaning back for some reason. Relax your neck leaning forward and your chin falls down to your chest. But how do you relax your neck muscles when you're leaning back against something? I didn't think I was flexing my neck, but my neck muscles kept hurting like they'd been flexing nonstop. How do monks meditate for hours with their head up without getting a sore neck? Maybe all monks secretly have really jacked neck muscles. Or maybe the conscious mind can't do it, can't get your neck to stop flexing, but the subconscious mind can, and you can only unlock it with meditation or opioids, which is why junkies can always sleep standing up. I've never heard a junkie complain of a stiff neck. There must be a neck relaxing agent in everyone's mind, but you can't control it, just like that work narrating agent when I was trying to sleep. Our head is probably full of subconscious agents, and I think in the near future, AI will install another one. The first exogenous subconscious agent, doing things and saying things and relaxing and flexing your muscles, except you can probably turn it off if you want to, just like you can delete your Instagram if you want to. 2026 is Lufthansa's 100th anniversary. Every headrest of every seat has the number 100 stitched into it, with an overlay of the airline's famous early German modernist crane logo. In the seatback pocket was a flying museum, a folding brochure printed on thick, matte, unbleached cardstock. The early Lufthansa planes had a really long wire running diagonally from the top of the tail fin all the way to the cockpit, turning the plane's silhouette into a sharp triangle. This was its antenna, the length necessary for radio technology at the time. Radio communication, of course, is a necessity for commercial flight, and the prominence of the antenna seemed to match the relative importance of its function. Today, the antenna is so small you don't even notice it. I wonder if Wi-Fi required long, suspended cables traversing the ceiling of every room in your house, if we'd think of the internet differently in some subtle but consequential way. Perhaps if the internet always came through a big visible wire, it would seem less natural to us than it does now when it's just an invisible ambient part of our environment, like another layer of the atmosphere. I land in Munich, turn my phone off airplane mode, and in the flurry of notifications, I think there's one from United about my flight being canceled. I open the app, but the boarding pass for my flight to Washington, D.C. from Munich is still there. Maybe I was just delirious from sleep deprivation. But no, I definitely saw something. So I go back to the app and look at my boarding pass and notice that it's now from Munich to DC, but on August 12th, tomorrow. Also, it's a Lufthansa flight, when my previous flight was United, but all of this airline sharing always gets so confusing. I once missed a plane to Tokyo from Helsinki at the gate because there were two flights to Tokyo, one that was Finnair operated by Japan Airlines and one that was Japan Airlines operated by Finnair, departing 15 minutes apart, right next to each other, and I waited in line for the later one by accident. Back to my notifications, where is this message? I checked my texts from United, but the last thing they sent me was the login code. And then I scroll through my notifications really slow and find one from United and tap on it and it opens WhatsApp. How the fuck did United know I even had WhatsApp? United texts me. It doesn't WhatsApp me. Like, we did not talk about WhatsApp. I never told United to WhatsApp me. It's like when a friend writes you on Discord being like, bro, I've been writing you on Signal, why are you ignoring me? And you're like, what? We were talking here. I don't even open Signal unless I'm doing crime. United's probably messaging me on Telegram asking if I know where to get shrooms. United's probably been sending disappearing nudes to my Snapchat account I haven't opened in 13 years and leaving 20 unread DMs in my Instagram request folder being like, you never comment on the pics I send you, cry emoji. Anyway, now I know that United is WhatsApping me, and apparently 30 minutes before my plane left Berlin, they WhatsApped me saying my flight had been changed and to check the app for my new itinerary, while I was already in the airport in Berlin. There was no notification in the Lufthansa app, even though that's the app with my tickets, because Goofy United was just WhatsApping me. So now I'm stuck in Munich with a connecting flight that leaves in 28 hours. I get to the Lufthansa service desk and the line is 60 people deep and not moving. I stand there and start asking Gemini, Google's AI chatbot, what to do, and Gemini gets excited. In a kind of hold my beer voice, it tells me that under EU regulation EC number 261/2004, I am entitled to a hotel, meals, and €600 compensation for the delay as long as it's not caused by extraordinary circumstances. I tell it I have a WhatsApp message from United that says the delay was due to maintenance issues. Gemini is pumped. I think it even calls me my guy. It says, "Yes, my guy. That's not an extraordinary circumstance. Screenshot it, or better, export the chat so you get the metadata. Then you have legal proof you can use in case United tries to claim the cancellation was in fact due to an extraordinary circumstance later." I wondered if United would really do that, like start lying about what caused the plane delay. But I guess bro does seem kind of messy, texting me, then WhatsApping me, and Snapchatting me nudes, so maybe. But Gemini is getting a little manic, being on the offense against United right now, like the two algorithms have some past beef. There's a woman from Lufthansa wandering the line answering questions, and I ask her what to do, and she says, "Well, United canceled your flight, so you should probably just book a hotel and save all your receipts, and then United will reimburse you, because this line is so long that it is your right to book your own hotel." Gemini told me I couldn't get my checked bag until I got to DC the next day, but I asked the lady and she said I could go pick it up at baggage claim and recheck it tomorrow. AI makes shit up constantly. I wish Gemini was less certain, less sure of itself. I tried adding a master prompt that was like, "You are the world's greatest mind, but you work as a bartender at a dive bar in Alaska because your deep sense of epistemic humility makes you always express doubt." But that just made Gemini start every answer with, "Take this with a grain of salt," and end every answer with, "Wipes the counter and gazes wistfully into the crystalline haze of a midnight snow." By the time I got to baggage claim, all the bags from the Munich flight had long been picked up, so I went to Lufthansa's baggage trace. The guy at the desk there was the ultimate German stereotype of a sentient regulation manual. Late 40s, thin, pale, light hair, with sunken cheeks and unusually sharp canines. So impatiently terse and emotionless, you just knew he had kinks. Staring like a psycho in the dull yellow light of a motel bathroom in his grainy FetLife profile pic. Responding only with an address to those who express interest in his elaborate system of straps, locks, and buckles, applied and tightened in a deliberate order, counting the correct number of belt holes before fastening, according to a strict procedure. Das Buckle Man handled me with precise cold efficiency, and said he would telex for my bag, and it would arrive on belt 8 in 15 minutes. I said thanks, and he immediately put up a window close sign and walked away briskly, probably to go masturbate. I got my bag an hour later and left the airport. Everything is already glowy and surreal from dehydration and sleeplessness. There's a Hilton hotel connected to the airport, but it's more expensive than the hotels you have to take a shuttle to. To be safe, I stopped by the United check-in desk and asked the woman there if they would reimburse the Hilton, and she said yes, whatever I want. Good, because I don't know if I would survive waiting for a hotel shuttle. I walk to the Hilton and get to the front desk and ask this young guy if they have rooms. He says yes, but there's also a charge for booking at the front desk last minute. I suggest walking 10 feet away from him, booking the room online, and then walking 10 feet back to him and checking in. He says yes, and the prices are better anyway. He can't do anything about the price in his system. I walk 10 feet away and book the room, signing up for the Hilton Honors Program to get a better deal, or I guess to get United a better deal, and then walk 10 feet back to the guy, who says I should probably walk 10 feet away again for 5 minutes, because that's how long it takes for the reservation booked on my computer to get to his computer 10 feet away. 5 minutes later, I'm back, I check in, and then he gives me a dare. It's noon, and it will be €40 to get into my room before the regular check-in time of 3 p.m. I thought about this for a second. That means the room is ready, but unless I pay Hilton €40, it will just sit there, clean and empty. I tried to think of any possible reason for this aside from it being a thing to monetize. Might I take a 3-hour shower? Maybe it would cover 3 hours of extra electricity if I just watch TV. Would United cover this small act of extortion from Hilton? I don't know, and I'm starving, so I decide to tough it out for the next 3 hours. The Hilton is next to this massive open pedestrian square in front of the airport, covered by a 6-story high glass roof. I thought I saw something that said it was the largest garden with a roof in the world, but I double-checked and it's actually the largest beer garden with a roof in the world, which makes sense because only the beer garden had plants. Directly in front of me, across the square, is a McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's literally in years. Carly won't touch it because it's like fake engineered food. But I remember an old friend of mine who insisted that McDonald's, in fact, is the most pure food of all. He said everything at McDonald's is the platonic ideal of food. The Big Mac is the platonic ideal of burger. McDonald's fries are the platonic ideal of fries. McDonald's has served billions. Surely, refusing to eat McDonald's is sophomoric rebellion at best and classist arrogance at worst, so I went to McDonald's. I'm going to sound like a mid-leftist YouTuber or Adbusters boomer talking about my trip to McDonald's like it was some rarefied encounter with a capitalist other, but I'm doing it anyway. First of all, McDonald's is no longer a restaurant. It is something else. It is vast, phygital, with a robust oracular membrane, enabling seamless interoperability between bits and the customer's bytes. It is a medium-agnostic mesh of food supply chain infrastructure, real estate, and effective somatic cybernetics operating at planetary scale. It is an intellectual property. It is achieving, quote, exceptional execution of its accelerating the arches strategy, unquote. It says, quote, the scale of incoming information from all corners of the globe will allow McDonald's Gen AI models to better understand the broadest range of patterns and nuances, unquote. Google CEO Sundar Pichai calls it, quote, an iconic dining experience, unquote. It is a place where the feed and feeding merge. It is a feed space. It is preparing 55,000 orders at this moment and every moment. Internally, at the corporate level, it calls itself the system.
If you've made it this far, you already know New Models is for you. Subscribe now at newmodels.substack.com or patreon.com/newmodels for all of our full episodes and the hundreds more in our archive.